He's a really genuine, great guy. He's also a Queenslander as well. Guess that helps. But really worth listening to. If you want to boost your income rapidly, he'll be doing a short session for you. So we're going to bring him up. I want you to please give a huge welcome to the stage, Mr. Bret Thomson, and he's going to teach you. Give him a big hand.
I just came to say hello.
G'day. How are we all? I want to give another round of applause to Mark for being the kind of the warm-up act for myself. Thanks, Mark. That was pretty interesting, but thanks for staying around. I know it's so long, guys. So look, I'll tell you right now, I'll be upfront with you. I don't make my money from speaking from stage, kind of like Mark. I make my money from helping big business owners and small to medium-sized business owners with their marketing and things like that. So I'll tell you that up front because I want to kind of give you guys some hope. Can I see a show of hands who's actually in business for themselves right now? Awesome. Who has intentions of getting in business for themselves? Cool, excellent. Okay, so what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about my story because, like Jamie said, I work with some of the biggest players in the industry now. I've helped them generate hundreds of millions of dollars per year through marketing strategies and coming up with big ideas and writing sales copy and things like that. But here's the interesting fact. Probably 6 years ago, the only way you would have met me is if you went into an industrial estate in Tweed Heads. In one of the side streets, there was a nut and bolt factory and asked for some nuts and bolts. And I would have served you. All right? So does that give you guys a little bit of hope? I'll tell you now also, and I've got to say, I'm not used to wearing these kind of headsets. I'm usually, but I'm glad I haven't got a microphone. So I'm one of those guys who speaks with their hands. Does anyone else speak with their hands? Yeah. I think I got that from my old man, because I remember when I was about 8 years old, I was in the shopping centre. My old man was walking out to the car park, and he had a watermelon under this arm, and he had shopping bags under the other arm. We were walking out the car park, and this car pulled up and went down the window and said, "Excuse us, mate, do you know where the library is?" And Dad goes, "Oh." So he put down the bags, put down the watermelon, and he goes, "I don't know, mate." So I'm kind of want to speak with my hands as well, but I will say. Also, to give you guys some hope, right? I went through all of school and didn't read one book. I mean, you hear that a lot. You hear a lot of the speakers saying a lot of the big, celebrity and multimillionaire people haven't had much of an education. But my whole schooling was a bit of a social event for me, right? And I remember when I finished school, I spent all of my 20s as a heavy investor, right? I invested about 80% of my income into my social life. Anyone else do that? Yeah. I remember celebrating at the end of school thinking, wow, I'll never have to read another book again. This is fantastic. But I remember a few years later, I did read something. I read this one-page newspaper article, which took me a while to read, and it was how alcohol has a negative effect on your brain. I went, oh, no, that's devastating. So I finished and I put my hand down. I said, I'm going to make a decision right now. I'm never, ever going to read again. So look, that was my life. My whole life was pretty much hanging out with my mates and partying and things like that. But something happened along the way. I became a father of identical twin boys. Right? They're just my best mates in the world, and they're just whose life has changed completely 180 degrees just by having kids. Right? And keep your hand up if it's in a good way. But for me, that changed my priorities, totally changed my priorities. And I thought, wow, all of a sudden, I want to do something with my life, right? So I read my first book. I was about 25. I read my first book, and it was called Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins. Anyone heard of that book? Right? It's a monster book to start with. It's like 360 pages. And I hated reading, but I thought, I'm just going to read 10 minutes tonight, and that's it. Right? So I'd look at had my little clock there, and I'd read 10 minutes. As soon as I saw 10 minutes, I'd stop, that's it. Next night, right, because I really wanted to change my life. I said, next 10 minutes, read, stop, that's it. Another night, I started reading. I looked and there was like 23 minutes. I went, whoa, I can take tomorrow night off now. So, but I was amazed. After about 80 pages of that book, I'd totally given up all bad habits and I wanted to get my life on track because I couldn't believe the concept that you could actually like design your own, create your own destiny, right? I mean, I went through school. None of my teachers told me that you can have, believe in your dreams. And my parents are awesome parents, but they were from a different culture where you kind of just toughen up and get by on your own. Anyone familiar with that? Yep. So I just really bought into this whole personal development thing, and I become like just a frenzy of personal development books and CDs, and so I was like a seminar junkie, and I just flooded myself in that because it was a brand new concept for me. So much so, if you kind of immerse yourself in all this kind of stuff, you can't help but kind of preach to your friends a little bit. So I burnt most of my friends very quickly, right? But I just knew I wanted to do something else in my life. So just wind the clock back a bit. I was actually to support my social lifestyle. I went and got a job at a nut and bolt factory in Tweed Heads. Okay, what happened? 15 years later, I was still there. Right? Has anyone been in a situation when you're doing something in life, but you kind of know you're just meant to be doing something else? Anyone feel like that? Cool. Well, that was something that was just eating away with me. I said, I'm sure there's more I'm meant to be doing than just selling nuts and bolts. Right? So I had this. I said, what do I love? I love the personal development, and I love kids. Right? And I was just a natural born dad. I just loved it. So I thought, I'm going to try and teach personal development stuff to kids. Right? I wanted to teach kids between 7 to 12. Self-esteem, self-confidence, communication skills, and life skills. Who thinks that's a good idea? All right? Seriously? Well, everyone said the same thing, all right? And I said, that's great. So I called up, sat down with my boss and said, I'm out. Right? I'm going to take my long service leave. I'm going to start my own personal development program for kids, because I spoke to everyone and they all said it was just the best idea ever, right? So what happened is they were right. Everyone was completely right. It was the best idea ever. But what I found out very quickly, no one was prepared to pay for it, right? So I learned, and like you hear people that say, follow your passion and the money will come. Who's heard that? I mean, that's a crock, right? No, not putting anyone down, but it is true. Here's what you get when you follow your passion. You get amazing energy. You don't need to hit the snooze button 10 times in the morning when you're following a dream and you're doing something you're passionate about. But look, you need more than just a good idea to make money. You need to know marketing. So I thought, right, I've got to learn marketing. So I thought I'll take on marketing with the same kind of gusto and enthusiasm that I did with all the personal development stuff. So I found myself in a seminar like this, right, run by a gentleman by the name of Mal Emery. Who's heard of Mal Emery? Known as the millionaire maker in Australia, right? So I'm sitting there, green as, and he walks up on stage. And this he's not only a multi-millionaire himself, but he makes millionaires. He's just big time, right? He walks up on stage and says, right, what I'm going to show you now has made me more money in my life than anything I've ever done in my whole life. So I was sitting up the back somewhere, pen and paper, and I said, right, whatever comes out of this guy's mouth, I'm going to do it, whatever he says. And he goes, what it is writing words that motivate people to take action, better known as copywriting. I went, no! Out of all the things, I hate reading. I've only just started reading. I hate writing. And that was the thing. I said, bugger it, right? So just out of a quick question, does anyone in the room, and don't be embarrassed about this, because 6, 7 years ago I didn't know what a copywriter was. Does anyone not know what a copywriter is? Cool, I appreciate your honesty. Basically, is a copywriter it's a salesman, a person who does sells your concept in business in the written form. Okay, so everything you see, all the words on your web page or a postcard, if you have to sell something, it's just a way of writing your sales message. Okay, that's what a copywriter is, right? So I said, right, well, obviously I need to build my business, so I thought I'll learn copywriting. He invited a gentleman up on stage by the name of Pete Godfrey. Anyone heard of Pete Godfrey? Cool. Good mate of mine now, but didn't know him from a bar of soap. And Pete just talked about copyright and took what I thought was a boring subject and made it kind of pretty cool. So I put $500 down. I went to my first, it was my last $500, guys, I promise you. It's not too long ago, like 6 or 7 years ago. It was about the time when the Beaconsville mine was happening. Remember that? Everyone remember that? That was 6 or 7 years ago. And I was still just bummed with no money, right? So things can happen really fast when you learn this skill. So I learned this and I started putting all this copyright and marketing skills into my own business, and my business started growing, right? A little bit, right? And then people started ringing me up and said, hey, Bret, I'm reading your emails and seeing your web pages. They said, who's doing your sales copy? I said, well, it's me. And they said, well, look, we're looking for a good copywriter. Can we pay you to write for us? And I thought, well, I'm not earning really any money, so why not, right? So here's the thing. I learnt that skill, started writing for other people, and started just hitting home run, promotions after, because I really got it. I just put in so much energy into learning this thing, and I just started hitting getting massive results for my clients. Next thing, the phone rang. It was the guy said, g'day, and I said, g'day, and he goes, I said, who is it? He said, it's Mal Emery. I said, very funny, who is it? He said, no, it's actually Mal Emery. And he goes, I've just looked at a sales letter that you wrote on a web page, and apparently you wrote it, and he told me about it. I said, yeah, that's mine. He said, look, I've been looking at sales copy for the last 15 years, and that's one of the best written sales letters I've ever seen come out of this country. I went, I'm not surprised. I didn't say that, actually. I said, and so he goes, I want you to write for me. I said, holy, that's fantastic, right? And so he's got like a dozen high-paid copywriters, and I was in this stable, right? So things started really changing. After 6 months, because I was belting out home run winners for Mal, he rang me up again and said, I want to give you a 6-figure package to be my personal copywriter. I said, fantastic, right? So he picked me out of everyone, and in that time, and this is all leading to a point, right? In that time, this is how fast things can happen. In that time, I was at another seminar, and I met some guy, and we went halves and bought this the distribution rights for this product, and everyone was struggling to sell this product for about $498. No one could sell it. All right. And I looked at the sales copy and I thought, gosh, I can just really inject some cool stuff into here. So we bought the distribution rights and we tried their current marketing system, it just flopped. Next thing we did, I said, right, I'm going to change all the sales copy. I was able to sell that same product for $1,498, more than 3 times the price, and I outsold every single person around Australia by 600%. Now, the thing is, I didn't change the product once. All I changed was the words I used in the marketing. Okay, I went from within 18 months of learning this craft, I went from earning, when I had my kids' personal development business, my gross income that year was $16,000. All right, pretty impressive, right? Yeah. Within 18 months, I'd earned $200,000. Cool. So I did a handful of things. I did very, very well, which I want to share with you guys. Is that cool? Yeah. Thanks, Mum. I appreciate that. Anyone else? I know it's pretty. All right, here we go. I'm going to give you a few tips first. Who's currently got a website where they're bringing in leads? Like Kerwin Ray said, you've got to have an offer to build up your database, right? Well, here's the thing. I'll give you some split testing results that I've done, because this is going to be real content. I'm going to really race through this, but it's going to be very content, so you're going to have a lot to write, but it's all going to be good stuff. So how to get more leads with your offer. See, I offered on my webpage a free DVD. The conversions were pretty cool, and I did one small thing that instantly increased it by an extra 37%. All right, just one small trick. Here's what I did. I superimposed a hand behind it, and that gave me a staggering boost of 37%. Now that's some big numbers when from an opt-in rate. So if you've got an ebook, see if you can put a hand behind it or something like that. It's something which blew our mind. Another thing we did. This was the opt-in form. Had the hand and had the DVD. We asked for their first name, last name, email, phone number, street address, suburb, what they ate for breakfast, all that kind of stuff. Right? So I did one small thing, and I got a 700% increase in opt-in rates. And if you've got a website right now, here's how to get a phenomenal boost. I did the same thing. I just asked for their name and email. even better, all you've got to do is ask for their email. And you'll get a massive more people into your database. Because as a lot of the speakers said, the more people you have on your database in business, the more valuable your business is, and the more chance you have to sell and make profit. Make sense? Okay. So who's seen websites where it's just long, just pages that go on and on and on, long-form sales letters, right? Now, I'll generally ask people who enjoys them and who reads them, and here's what the response is. Right, everyone said, no one's going to read those things, all those long sales letters, who's going to read that? Right, and here's the thing, most people, you're right, most people won't read them, but your buyers will, and I'll tell you why, and you really need to understand this for the rest of this talk to make sense. The reason why when you write a sales message, long sales copy works better than short copy, because a lot of people think, oh, I don't like long copy, so I'm going to make mine really short because everyone likes it. Look, the only people that like it are the people that don't buy. Your buyers need it. Here's the reason why. When people, the internet is the most distrusted medium on the planet, all right? So you have to, before people are going to buy from you, you have to gain trust and belief, right? Now to do that, everyone's got these little boxes in their mind. You've got to tick off little boxes. They've got objections and they've got hot buttons. So here's the thing, you've got to make sure you tick every single box before they hand over your credit card and do business with you, right? So here's the thing, you might want to write this down. One objection missed is a sale missed. Very important. One objection missed is the sale missed. So here's the thing: if you write a short sales script in your marketing or whatever, and you leave out some objections or you leave some hot buttons, you're leaving money on the table, right? You're right. Not everyone might read every single word, but your buyers will read enough of it until you've ticked enough boxes for them to purchase off you. So don't cut it short. Okay? It can never be too long, but it can be too boring. Okay, so just still keep it tight, but make sure you hit all the hot buttons and all the objections. Okay, this is really cool. This is the kind of advice I give people, and when I redo their stuff and can add millions of dollars onto the front end. Like I've done work with Jamie, with all his marketing, and a lot of the other speakers, Laura Langmeyer, Mal Emery, and a few others. So it really helps, and it's really going to help you guys. So moving on. Here's the 5 things I did very, very well. The first one most people cringe and hate because it's in the researching part. When if you really want to get high conversions with your business and get more sales, right, it's not so much about the crafty and eloquent words you use, it's about the research that you do in your market, right? And here's why. You've got to become like a sales detective. Look for clues, and look at their wants, their needs, desires, fears and frustrations. I promise you now, here's the thing, when I do a marketing campaign, if someone approaches me and said, Bret, can you redo our marketing campaign, like it starts at about 20K and then goes steeply afterwards, right? Now, here's the thing, I spend 80% of my time researching and about 15% of my time writing, and then the other 5% just cleaning up and editing it. I don't tell my clients like that, because if they drop 20 grand in my account and they think I'm researching for 80%, they can't understand that, right? But I'll tell you now, that's what separates a top-level marketer than a B-class marketer. It's in the researching, okay? Because what you've got to find out is what kind of conversations they're having in their mind. This is really important to write this down, and I'll explain why. You've got to enter the conversations your clients are having in their mind right now. I'll give you an example. Let's say someone's come to your website. Say it's a husband. It's kind of in the evening, he's going, gosh, I really want to buy this, and kind of and ahhing. He's reading more, and he's still not convinced. And he goes, and he's thinking, I really want to buy this, but I know I've got to chat to my wife first. Okay? So what happens? He goes, right, I'm convinced now I want to buy this. I'm going to shut it down in the morning. I'm going to come back and buy it. So cool. So he goes home, and he lays down with his wife, and they have pillow talk, right? Now, pillow talk is when he said, honey, I saw this, I think it would be really cool, we should buy it. And she'll go, right, we've got to remind you we have school fees coming up, we've got to pay for our little girl's ballet, and we've also, still paying off the credit card. Don't you think we should wait until the credit card's paid off? All that's kind of pillow talk, right? So she talks him out of the sale. That happens time and time again with your business because you haven't done your research, or most people don't do their research, and found out what kind of objections and the pillow talk's happening. If you can enter the conversation in their mind and find out what conversation, and you address it in your sales copy and on your web pages, then your conversions will go through the roof. So, for instance, going back when he's in front of your laptop looking at your website, and he's reading through, he's kind of, oh, I've got to speak to my wife, and there's a little piece of copy there that says, look, I know you might have to check with your partner, that's cool, you might have credit card bills, but I encourage you to, and you give them a reason why. You could say something along the lines of, if you buy this now, you could get return on your money and things like that. I tell you that's not a good example, but I tell you that if you address the situation up front, then you're going to get more conversions. You've got to arm them with kind of enter the conversation in their mind, if that makes sense. How do you find that out? How do you find out what kind of conversations they're having, your clients are having? You can put a survey out if you've already got a database. If you don't have a database, you can find someone who has your ideal client database and ask them to put out a survey, right? You can check forums and see what kind of questions are being asked in forums. But the best thing, the very best way to really find out and get high conversions is you ring up people who are your potential clients and ask them over the phone. I promise you now, hardly anyone does this. And I do it all the time. I teach my students and my people in my coaching group to do it as well, and they get phenomenal results. I mean, you ring up people and find out, what kind of objections have you got right now, and you've got gold for your marketing. I promise you now, right? So what you're trying to do is come up with a big idea. Now, the big idea is, I always say this, you're one big idea away from your $1 million payday, okay? You're one big idea away from your $1 million payday. Now, some people it comes kind of naturally, and some are kind of, they struggle with it. But let me give you an example. Who in the room are, consider themselves like a creative person opposed to like analytical? Who's the more creative people? Cool. Well, I'm more like that. And there's the other side of the fence is if you're an organised person. I'll tell you now, if I ever put on a time management seminar, don't go. Doesn't matter how good the copy is that I wrote, like I'll probably be late for it, okay? And I've always been more of a creative person. I remember when I was at school in primary, at home in primary school on school holidays, right? And I had this idea to come up with a new mousetrap. So, and Mum must have been away because I was at home with Dad. So I thought, right, here's a new mousetrap. So I had this block of wood with 4 razor blades sticking up, right? And I put a block of cheese in the middle. I went up to Dad, I go, Dad, check this out, new invention of a new mousetrap. And he goes, son, that's not going to work. I said, all right, I'll go back and I'll have another go. So a couple of hours later, I came back with prototype number 2. I said, Dad, check this out. Same block of wood, same 4 razor blades, but no cheese in the middle. And he goes, well, how's that going to work? I said, well, the mouse is going to come up and go, where's the cheese gone? So if you've got a creative mind, I promise you, you can come up with some amazing big ideas. Like, you know my history, I don't mind saying it. Like, I go, it doesn't make sense how I can consult people and help them make millions of dollars, but it does if you just follow these things. But the big idea and the creativeness is such a massive asset, right? And I'll tell you some stories where I've sat in front of big corporate hoity-toity kind of people and just thrown their marketing plans and given them a fresh one and made them millions of dollars, right? All because of the big idea. The big idea can come in the form of a big headline that really pulls people in. It can come in the form of an offer. And I'm going to give you some examples of some amazing offers where you go, wow, what an amazing idea. What you're trying to do with your big idea is have your point of difference. You've got to have something different than your competitors, okay? Always looking for your point of difference, and that's where the big idea is going to pay you. You can look at a different strategy plan or do joint venture plan. I promise you now, and I'm going to show you how I come up with big ideas, okay? It's not just one of those light things. Here's the thing, the speed of information. This is very important. The way we interpret information is generally the speed of sound. Okay, what's the faster way to get information than the speed of sound? What's that? That's right, speed of light. Is there a faster way to get information than the speed of light? Okay, the answer is the speed of thought. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone and then you get like 15 minutes of dialogue just downloaded into your head straight away, like in a split second? Anyone had that? 2 people, that's cool. And there's any way to have get information faster than the speed of thought? Right. The answer is the speed of knowing. And Kerwin touched on it. Who listened to Kerwin's talk? right? The speed of knowing, it's your intuition. Like I promise you, it seems weird when you talk about marketing, I've got to talk about intuition, but if I didn't teach you this, I'll be really devaluing what I'm going to teach you. So the speed of knowing, you know how when you walk into a room and someone can just walk in and you haven't even seen them before, you go, ooh, and you just have a bad feeling about someone. Anyone felt that before? Yep, hopefully not when I got on stage. And so you get this bad feeling or a good feeling, the speed of knowing. I tell you this because that intuition can really make you a lot of money. Once you do your research and study and talk to clients and find out what they're doing, you get a real good feel for them. And you want to try and, I'll talk about this later, but try and market as if you're marketing just to one person. You get a good feel of what's going to work and what doesn't. That intuition really pays big time. How I work on it, I have little naps. I used to, when I worked at a laptop, I'd just get tired and just try and push through. Does anyone try to push through tired spells of the laptop? It just doesn't work, eh? Like you just not often. Sometimes you drool or the whole lot. It's not good, right? What I do, in my office, I've got a bed purposely built in there because if I get tired, I'll take advantage of this. Right, I'm going to have a rest. It might only be like I call it a power nap. And before I have a rest, I said, right, Brett, I talked to my subconscious mind. I said, right, I want you to work on a new headline or a new offer for this campaign while I sleep. Because while you sleep, your subconscious mind doesn't sleep. True, right? So, and I promise you now, guys, I've come up with the most amazing ideas just when I'm about to fall asleep or just when I'm waking up, right? You know what I mean? This happens because with this subconscious mind, who's been in a party or a workshop or whatever, and you meet someone and you should know their name, you go, hey, mate, how you going, right? And you're thinking, far out, what's that guy's name? You're there all day, you go, what is it? You're stressed. And what happens, you're driving home, you're chilling, listening to the radio, relaxing, and then go, bing, the name comes in, right? You know why? Because you're more relaxed, right? You're more relaxed, and so take advantage. Now, that doesn't give you permission to sleep, during the day. Like, if you've got an office with staff, and they open the door and you're asleep, get out, I'm working. Brett said, it's okay to sleep. None of that. But what I do say is just take advantage of that and believe in it, okay? Because everyone has their intuition, and you can have your $1 million payday for one big idea, and you're going to hear some of that. All right, so far so good? Thank you. I also motion beats meditation. Like, I'm no tree huggy hippie, but I do spend time visualising and meditating just so I can relax and try and visualise what's going to work, what's the best marketing strategy. Because your marketing is where the money is, not your big idea. Okay, unfortunately, it's sad, but someone with a product here has got an A-class product and someone over here has got a B-class product. If their marketing is better, they're going to sell it more every day of the week, right? So, that's might sound unfair, but I'm here to teach you all the best marketing tricks, okay? Second thing I got very, very good at is coming up with crushing headlines. I promise you now, headlines can do, one good headline can just improve 80% of your marketing. I'll tell you why. Have you ever, it's estimated then when you look through a newspaper, that you spend about 3 seconds on each page. What are people doing in those 3 seconds? Scanning headlines, right? Scanning headlines and pictures, right? So that, same with your website. Your website, you've probably got about 3 or 4 seconds before they click off, because they're waiting for something to just jump off the page, grab them by the throat and just bring them in and give them reason to read more. The purpose of your headline is so they read the next line. The purpose of your next line is so they read the line after that. If you get them to do that 4 times, they'll generally start reading a lot, okay? So, and same with bullet points. So how do you get good headlines? Number one is you can repurpose winning headlines. So if you come across, and I will say this too, a headline is also your email subject lines. Who starts the morning like me and they open up their inbox and they're just chock-a-block full of emails from subscriptions you're on, and you just start delete. Anyone? Right. Look, that's cool and that's normal, but what I encourage you to do is, before you do that, this is what I do. I just skim read the subject lines. If I find one that kind of gets me curious or motivates me to do something, I'll copy it, open up a Word doc that says cool subject lines and paste it in. I've got another Word doc that says cool headlines, I'll paste it in. So when I want to come up with a subject line or a headline, I've just got a bank of things that have really worked. Make sense? Like, I promise, if you do that, that's just going to help as well. So collect the swipe file, what we call. Also, when you're coming up with a headline, if you're doing a promotion to sell something, don't just come up with one headline and go, that'll do. Here's what I do and what most of the A-class copywriting marketing guys do. They'll be disciplined to write 100 headlines. And you think, gosh, who's going to do that, right? I'll tell you why it's important, because the more you do it and the more creative you get into, and then all of a sudden you get into the flow. Who knows the flow when you just can't type or can't write fast enough because ideas come in? That's where your $1 million ideas come from in motion. Make sense? So try and get to 100. And you might use number 17, right? And you think, well, what a waste. There's 99 others that you don't use. Wrong. You can use them. I'll come back to that. You can use them for email subject lines. You can use them for pre-headlines or mini headlines that go filter through the pages. You can use them for, you can expand them into blog posts and things like that. So it doesn't go to waste, but you really come up with the amazing headline. I know one of my mentors, Ted Nicholas, he ran full-page newspaper ads week after week. He did a split test. He ran one ad, and the next week ran the exact same ad, nothing changed. He just changed the headline, and he got 17 times more orders. That's not 100, 200%. That's 1,700% more increase just because you changed the headline. That's how important your conversions can be on your website, is to get good at this. And this is some of the secrets that have helped me. I'll tell you now, when you do your headline, you want to move away from features and go to benefits, okay? For instance, if I'm selling a bicycle, right, and you look at the features of a bike, it's got gears, it's got brakes and a nice cushy seat. Most marketing you see, they list out all the features, right? But if you really want your marketing to sing, here's what you do. You look at the benefits of those features. So let's look at the gears. The gears, it's got 10 gears, right? What's the benefit of having 10 gears? Well, you can climb up a hill faster. Now, what's the benefit of climbing up a hill faster? You get fit. Now, if you're marketing this to females, what's the benefit of getting fit? Okay, you feel confident, feel sexy. So what are you really selling? That's the question you want to write down. What are you really selling? Okay, so instead of selling 10 gears, you're selling confidence and sexiness and the ability to meet your ideal partner. All those, they're the kind of people buy with emotion, right? And they justify with logic. You want to write that down. People buy with emotion and they justify with logic. So when you get the feelings, when you get the benefits, you want to find out what feelings are attached to it. I'll give you an example. I know I'm talking fast because Jamie promised it's going to be a short thing, so I'm flying through it. Okay, husband in the kitchen, his wife comes in and she's wearing a brand new jacket. And he goes, "Whoa, that's a nice jacket. How much did that cost?" And she goes, "Oh, I was on sale today, I was very lucky," and walked off. And he goes, "Oh, cool, just out of interest, I know things are real tight right now, how much did it cost?" "Oh, there's only like 2 jackets left, so I couldn't refuse, it was really cool." I walked off, he goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." He said, "That's cool, but how much did it cost?" He goes, "I got a 70% discount." I walked off. He goes, "Fire out. How much did the jacket cost?" And she goes, "Well, it was $500, I got it for $280. He goes, "What? $280? Are you serious?" I said, "We've got electricity bills, we've got to pay for the kids' tuition, our credit card." And anyway, she was ready for this, right? So she brought out 2 double-barrel bazookas and went, she goes, "You spend all that money on that stupid computer, you go to those seminars and spend all that money all the time. I haven't bought anything for myself for ages. I can wear this top with all my jeans. I could wear this top when I go to your stupid dinner that we have to go to." All right, sounds familiar? Here's the clincher. "This can be an early Christmas present." Here's the thing, right? Now, picture this. When she was in the change room just checking it out, do you think she was thinking about that? She was looking in the mirror going, "Oh yeah, I look sexy and Rachel's going to hate me when she sees this." You know what I mean? So she goes, "I'm going to buy this." Like, she's buying with emotion. But she also has to be armed with objections to justify it. So here's what, with your marketing, people make the buying decision with emotions, and you've got to really hit that in your headlines. But you've also got to arm them up with logical reasons to justify. So they buy with logic and they justify. So they buy with emotion and justify with logic. Okay, again, all your headlines you can use as bullet points. Bullet points are as mini headlines, really, because people will... Who in the room are skim readers? Oh, cool. Generally about 90% of the people. What people do, they read the headline, and if it gets their interest, they might skim read down, they'll read a few bullet points, okay? Now, bullet points if one bullet point grabs them, that pulls them back in, they'll read more. So bullet point, don't be lazy on your bullet points, they're just mini headlines. Same with subject lines and things like that. Okay, next thing, we're moving along really cool. The next thing I got very, very good at that's helped me make millions and millions of dollars for my clients is being a good storyteller. I'll tell you a story about that. There was a famous beer company in America called Schultz Beer, right? And they were really struggling to really get their name out there. So they brought in a marketing expert by the name of Claude Hopkins, right? And who was one of the best copywriters who's ever lived. So Claude came into their factory and warehouses to find out, just to look around and do his researching part. And he was amazed, right? He was amazed at how they made beer. Instead of, like, they were on Lake Michigan, instead of like using the water which they could have and just filtered it, they drilled 400 deep into a freshwater well and used the water from that. Right? To purify it, it went through a cylinder floor, big vat full of timber pulp so it could purify the beer. He goes, wow, that's amazing. To sterilise it, it goes through this chamber which was protected by double-sided 4-inch glass, right, to sterilise it. To chill it, it runs over pipes which are like ridiculously below normal temperature just to chill it, and then it goes into bottles, which the bottles are steam cleaned 3 times, and then it's stored for 6 months. Right? He goes, that's amazing. So he asked the owner, he said, have you ever told the story in your marketing? And he goes, well, why would I? Everyone does this. So here's what Claude did. He was smart enough to tell the story in his advertising and marketing, and Schultz Beer went straight to #1 and stayed there for 10 years. Right? So here's a question to you. What are you taking for granted in your industry? What is your competitors doing that you think, oh, everyone's doing that? What twist can you put on something that you're taking for granted and put it in your marketing where so some people go, wow, that's interesting, and you might draw more customers. I'll give you a quick example. If you're a masseuse, right, and maybe you're doing this special massage, which everyone knows, it has a certain name and all the industry knows, so you don't bother using your marketing. But you can take that and say, you know, say 50% special on our Tibetan pain-free back massage or pain-free shoulder massage, Tibetan. I just said, you just put a cool name on it, right? And everyone in the industry knows it's the same thing you do. It doesn't matter. You put a cool title on it, people go, wow, you know, that's really interesting, and you'll draw more people. Just think outside the square. Does this make sense? Cool. So stories are amazing because they captivate, motivate, isolate, and connect. And here's another thing why good stories are so good. Remember the husband who was looking at your website and he had to justify to his wife? If you can tell a good story, people remember stories. So when he went to lay down with his wife, people remember stories and they go, oh, but this thing does this, that, and here's a cool story about it. And people love stories. We've grown up in stories ever since we were kids. We love going to watching a DVD or going to the cinema for some visual Valium, just zoning out and just getting sucked into a story. True or true, right? People love stories. So what stories can you tell about your marketing? It doesn't have to be about your product. The story can be about you, the business owner. The story can be about people you've helped, some amazing testimonials, right? I promise you guys, every time I do my research and come up with a big idea, I drill deep for the story. It works every time. It's really amazing. Here's the thing, moving along. When you're writing your sales copy, write as you speak. Make it conversational. Everyone seems to feel compelled to use big words, right? But when you're reading it on a web copy, you'll lose people straight away. You want to write this down. The more they read, the more they buy. The more they read, the more they buy. So you want to write as you speak. Keep it in a conversational tone. I taught my kids this and people that I mentor. I say, and Riley came home from school one day, one of my twin boys, and said, Dad, how's this? The English teacher called me up to the front desk and he said, Dad, I honestly thought I was going to be in trouble again. Because my boys are very adventurous. Right? So I said, all right, what happened, buddy? And he said, well, I had to write a story about what I did on the holidays. And so she called me up and said, Riley, come to the front desk. She said, who wrote this for you? And she goes, I did, ma'am. She said, Riley, you're in grade 8. I've been teaching here for 9 years. I teach grade 12 students, and this is one of the best written stories I've ever seen. And he goes, no, I promise you, I wrote this. And she said, well, Riley, I couldn't stop reading, and I felt like I was there with you the whole time. Oh, that just tears me up every time I say this. I've said this 100 times, but that's what you want. You want people to not stop reading and feel like you're there with you the whole time. Because I taught my boys how to write in a conversational style. Now, here's something really funny. Well, not really funny, but he wrote that 15 minutes before it was due in. And I can't kind of get up in too much because, you know, I have similar stories myself. But here's how, who'd like to know how to write like that? I can tell you right now. There's 2 things you can do. Sit down in front of someone that you feel comfortable with, a friend, colleague, family member, whatever. Get a recorder or your iPhone these days and recorder and sell them your business. And just get it recorded. Tell them why they should do business with you. Invite them to throw up objections, but just get it recorded. And just have the conversation, go, and just try and sell as best you can, right? If not yourself, get someone in your staff who's good at selling. Just try and sell your business to this person. Get it recorded. Send it to a transcriptionist where they'll type out every single word and give it back to you on a Word doc. And that's 80% of your sales script right there. I promise you now. You take out all the ums and the ahs and the swear words, and you just leave, but you leave the joining words. Oh, here's the thing. If you want people to keep reading, use little things called join-in sentences like, oh, by the way, or one more thing. And just kind of little, they're called connectors, you know what I mean? Those little things are kind of the glue that keeps people reading, because the more they read, the more they... Oh, thanks, Mum, I appreciate that. That's great. But here's the thing. Riley didn't have time to get something recorded and transcribed in 15 minutes. So here's what else I teach. If you're visual, this is pretty cool. You want to try and visualise you're having a conversation with someone, you're at a kitchen table, at a barbecue, whatever, having a yak, and just visualise it, play a mental video in your mind, and just write out the dialogue as it comes out. Okay, does this make sense so far? Yep. Some people are good at doing this, but this is what I do all the time. You really want to have that conversational tone, because if you do this, people will love reading your sales copy and they'll buy more, okay? Future pacing is where you can tell a story. If you've got no cool stories, you can tell a story like, imagine 90 days from now when and you can kind of take them into the future when they've had the benefit of doing business with you. Make sense? That's another trick you can do. It works very well. Another one is to write to one, not to many. When you do your research and I ring up, say, 10 people and talk to them and try and find out what their hot buttons and objections are, you want to try and imagine you're writing to one personality, not writing to thousands. Hopefully thousands, maybe millions of people will see your website. But when you're writing your emails and your blog posts and your sales copy for your pages, imagine you're writing to one person, because you'll automatically have more empathy. You'll automatically write in a more natural conversational flow. All right? And a huge secret. Keep them reading by making your words short and your sentences short and your paragraphs short. I'll tell you why. If they go to your website and the first thing they see is this chunky big paragraph, promise you now 90% of people will not read the first letter or the first word. Most people hate reading, right? So they'll go, bugger that, and they'll just click off. So what you do, you ease into it. You have your first sentence of your page should be just one sentence. Then the next paragraph should be another sentence. You're going to ease into them, right? And because people can just absorb it in bite-sized chunks. Right? Make sense? And again, I make my sentences very short. I have a rule where I try and keep my sentences under 7 words, not including AI in it and all those, but 7 words, right? Because here's the thing, the comprehension rate of people who read in Australia or around the world is equivalent to a grade 8 student or about 13 years old. Right? So what I used to do, when I used to write copy for clients, I'd give it to my twins when they were 13 and said, read it, and I'll have to bribe them. But they'd read it, and if they tripped up, I'll go, whoa, stop there, and I'll put a red pen around that and say, keep going. And any time they fumbled, I went back and changed it and made it simpler and dumbed it down. Because if they stumbled, then your readers will stumble. If your readers stumble, they'll start skim reading and you've lost it, okay? Okay, so dumb it down, dumb it down, dumb it down. Don't feel compelled to use big words. I was lucky I didn't know too many big words, so I kind of cruised through school. You want to make your message clear and concise, and here's the thing, so that's the one thing. The fourth thing I got very good at is video sales letters. Now, when those people see a website, who prefers video over long form? Who prefer to watch a video? And who prefer to read? Right? It's generally about 50-50, believe it or not, but you always try and use video sales letters. I remember I was sitting down with a corporate bunch, and I'm not really your corporate kind of guy, right? I don't get around in suits like this, but they said, right, Brett, here's the thing. We've got a promotion we want to run, and we expect to make $500,000 in 4 weeks. Who reckons that's pretty cool? $500,000 in 4 weeks. I said, right. And they even thought they'd go to the trouble and give me the headline and the hook and everything. They said, we want you to, here's the hook you can use, just write the copy. And I had a look at it, and I just pushed aside, look, I can do that, but honestly, if you want something better, I've got a better idea. Right? And it takes guts to say that to all these big corporate. And a lot of the people didn't really know me. There was one guy who knew my reputation, and he had to go in for battle. Just give Bret a go, give Bret a go. So I took their idea and just flipped it on their head. I did a campaign, and because I'm very good at coming up with marketing plans and strategies for people based around video sales letters, right? So we rolled it out, and I had my head on the line here. And who wants to know how close I got to their $500,000 projection? All right? Instead of making them $500,000 in 4 weeks, I made them $1.6 million in 2 weeks. All right. I appreciate it. Look, it was one of those moments when I thought, oh, if only I'd charged them more. So it's all based around video sales letters. So when you do a video sales letter, the key thing, this is what I teach people when I write video script, is to be authentic and genuine. Who can smell like a scripted video from a mile away? And who just gets irritated by that? You know what I mean? Like it's what I call sales friction. You want to eliminate sales friction. Genuine. Everyone's BS raters are like at high level these days, so it has to be genuine and authentic. It has to seem unscripted. You want to follow a sales formula as well. Also, long or short, the answer to that is as long as it needs to be to cover all the objections and hit all the hot buttons. That's how long it is. Not be. Don't say, oh, you've got to fit it in 2 minutes. Yeah, whatever. You don't want to leave anything out, all right? PowerPoint or live. If you've got a face for radio, then you can hide behind a PowerPoint and just have your voice recorded and have a PowerPoint slide there, right? But if you're comfortable in the camera, then you can do a live face-to-face thing, whatever you feel comfortable, as long as it seems natural, genuine, and authentic. Make sense? Cool. And you want to, if you can, have it on every single page. If you've got a page that you're going to sell from, right, then you want to, and then people, here's the thing about a company called ClickBank, which is the largest digital, sells more digital products than anything on the planet. When people hit the order button and they go to the order page, they have a drop-off rate of about 96%. People get cold feet. Oh, that's amazing, hey? So what I do and what I teach my clients to do is have a video there, and also on the sale page, just have a video or an audio there as well. Every single step of the page, just trying to interact with them, because people don't believe you if they don't trust you. All right? Last thing that I did very good was coming up with an irresistible offer. All right? You have to be clear and concise. A quick story. There was a guy who bought a rundown casino in Las Vegas. And everyone thought he's just crazy and he's just blowing his money, right? So he came up with an irresistible offer. And get this, imagine this, right? For $397, you could spend a whole weekend at his suite, right? For $397, here's what you got. You could stay at his a luxury suite in the hotel. You get free bottles of champagne to the room whenever you want. You get $1,000 worth of chips to gamble with, and you can keep all the winnings. Sound all right? You get to, anytime you're at the tables downstairs, you can have free drinks, unlimited. And you also got tickets to the shows, and you also got a free diamond ring. Who thinks that's pretty cool for $397? Right? Now, people go, what? How can that work? But he knew the numbers. He knew that the casino always wins. He knew that what he was doing, he was buying a client. Right? He's buying the client, even though it seemed like he was going negative on the front end, but he knew over time he'd make it up. Because the numbers started filling, people else started coming in, and it was a huge success. Right? It came up with an irresistible offer. So with your irresistible offer, you have to do something that your competitors aren't doing, have to make it clear and concise, make your bonus your product. So that's what he did. He put all these bonuses in, and people wanted to go to the casino just to get all the bonuses. So see, can you come up with all the bonuses and extra gifts that people buy just to get that? That's okay, does that make sense? One of my friends, Mal Emery, he put on a seminar, and people were struggling to get people into a seminar, but he said if you go to the seminar, you get two free tickets to Hawaii. And do you think people turn up to go to the seminar to get the tickets? Right, the tickets. So he made his bonus his product, so think about that. Multiple calls to actions. Whether you make an irresistible offer on your website, don't just click here to offer. You can give them a phone number to ring, give them an email, a fax number, or whatever. Give them multiple ways to offer. You'll get an increased conversion in sales. Scarcity and urgency. Who hates those things where you must buy now in the next 10 days or it's gone, or this is only open for like 7 people. Who thinks that and they cringe? They go, anyone? Yeah. Here's the thing, look, I know that's really seems salesy, but the problem is it works. It's human nature, right? So you can leave it off if you want, but if you really want more sales, add some scarcity. Because here's the thing, when the husband was sitting and looking at your website and he said, oh, look, I don't know if I've got to talk to my wife. He said, look, you can tell a story about it, but if you buy this, you get an extra bonus in the next, whatever. But if you gave him an incentive to act now, then he would have got sales and you get more and more sales. Like or hate it, I tell you that because it works. Is that fair? Cool. Reinforce your offer on every page. So when just because they hit the order now, and before they had to put on the page where they put their credit card details in, that doesn't mean you got the sales guys. Remember what I said before, 96% get cold feet on that page. You reinforce the offer, you have pictures, videos, whatever. Just try and bank that page up with some real emotive sales copy. Make sense? Above everything, flood with proof. Here's the thing, proof is the most important thing. People don't buy from you if they don't believe you, all right? And people don't buy from you if they don't trust you. So here's the thing. One of the most famous copywriters in the world by the name of Gary Benjavengus, and he's a multi-millionaire marketing guy, and he said out of all the millions of dollars he's made in his marketing, if there's one thing he had to do to get more sales, here's what it'd be. And it would be flood it with more proof, like testimonials and graphs and just to really amplify the proof that it works. Because people don't believe you online. They won't believe you and your message. They'll believe someone else. So he said, if proof and belief are the two narrow toll gates that your customer has to pass through to get the sale, then doesn't it make sense to put them up nice and early? Okay? So what could you do with proof? You get testimonials. That's why before and after pictures, the best way to get proof in your marketing is do demonstration. Get someone to do like a video demonstration of someone getting the results with your product or service. And that becomes undeniable. Now I'm going to give you an opportunity to have access to actually get all that stuff, okay? Because the thing is with this, I've tried to, in the shortest amount of time, I've tried to actually put as much as I can. Who's enjoyed the content so far? Right, I appreciate that, it's very nice. But I encourage you to stay educated, right? Now, I promise you this, like any time I come on stage now, I'm the same as Mal. I said, learning this skill has put more money in my bank account than I could ever imagine of, better than any skill I've ever done in my whole entire life. So I really encourage you to stay educated. Now, and I'll promise you now, if you're selling anything online, I'd encourage you to get me to look at it before you try and sell it anymore. Who'd like me to have a look at their website and punch holes through it, right? Cool. And I am, like, you've got to be pretty thick skin, and I'm with your best intentions, but I just punch holes through it and say, whoa, take that out, and that's what I do. I specialise and I love it. I'm a bit of a marketing nerd, really. I kind of enjoy it. I've got this club, I used to call it the Click Ask Club, right? Being more clicks to your website, ask being associates, of course. But maybe that's a bit crass. So we'd call it the 12-month $1 million marketing club, where I automate your marketing. I'm all for automating your marketing, right? Whereas, because not everyone who knows the importance of marketing and copywriting now, as far as you can drive so much traffic to your business, but if they're not converting, gosh, you can just waste a lot of money. The conversions really happen. That's where the money is with your marketing. So if you want me to kind of work with you over 12 months, then this is what we can do together. Weekly e-classes that, on conversion tips. They're just short, punchy lessons that I like in the trenches of learning every day. Some could be written, some could be video, audio, or bonuses, whatever. It helps you with everything you do, writing for emails, blog posts, newsletters, and all your web page copy. So if it's not for you, if you know someone in your team that could value it, then sure, give it to them as well, right? It's very valuable. It's made me and my clients a lot of money. Here's where it gets really cool. Remember I talked about getting a swipe file? I'm going to give you access to hundreds and hundreds of winning headlines that have worked, hundreds of winning email subject lines that have got amazing open rates, templates for bullet points, product launch emails, guarantees, massive offers, and all that cool stuff. Who'd like access to my brain trust and look all the stuff that I've used in the past? Right? It really helps. It kind of shortens your time of thinking. Now, that's just under a couple of grand for 52 weeks for the 12 months. Right? I'm also going to give you 2 tickets to a workshop called the 7-Hour Sales Letter. This is a very quick story. Mal Emery said, Brett, I want to do a tour all around Australia, right? And I'm going to pull someone from the stage and bring them up, and I want me and you to interview them, and then I want you to do their 12 months of marketing overnight and present it on stage the next day. I'm thinking, oh, hold on, where's that benefit me at all, right? So here's what happened. We brought someone on stage. The first time was in Brisbane. We interviewed them about their business, and I locked myself in a hotel room that night, and I did the 12 months of marketing, wrote it all, and presented it to them on stage the next day. Now, it took what a normal copywriter will take about 3 or 4 weeks to do that. I kept myself up with V-drinks and everything and wrote it all. And Mal saw it, and he said, wow, and he said to all his other copywriters, a dozen copywriters, said, this is the new standard of copy we want you to work towards, and I did it all in 24 hours. So what I did was come up with a way to write compelling, high-converting copy, world-class copy, in a condensed short period of time. It's a system we call a 7-hour sales letter, right? So we thought, well, we'll try and teach this to people because we didn't know if I could teach it. So we got 100 people in a room, all with laptops, with nothing more than just a business idea or what they want to do. And I taught them, I did a little bit of teaching, this is how you write your headlines, and gave them half an hour to write the headlines, bullet points, and I told them the whole system, and at the end of the 2 days, they'd all finished their long-form sales letter, which some of them broke up into web pages, and all done and dusted. Sound pretty cool? What I like about this is it's a workshop where you don't come in there, you learn lots of stuff, take some notes, and you've got to go home and think, oh, now I've got to fit it into life. You come out there with a finished product. Who thinks that's cool, right? I did a third day where I did, and if you come along and join us, you can do your whole video script as well. We do a little bit of teaching, then you write, and you end up with all your sales copy and your video script. But the cool thing is you've got a skill that can pay you for life. You can do it over and over again. Every single email you write, the whole lot. Sound cool? And the next workshop we got next year is called Automate Your Business. One of the most profitable passive incomes you can have is when people opt into your website. Instead of trying to keep in contact with them through email, you can set up a funnel of emails with offers, upsells and downsells, and that can just be turned on like a tap. Okay, so all you've got to do is just drive traffic to your site. If they opt in, then you can have like 6 months of all your marketing done for you, right? And it's all on automated. Who thinks that's cool? Right? Especially if you can monetize it. So I thought that's cool. I want to teach everyone, because that's what I do. I get paid $20,000 or more to do that for companies, but I want to teach people how to do it live in a workshop. So we're going to take 100 people. The tickets are about $1,500 each, and we're going to teach you how to do it. But you're going to come out of there with it all done and dusted. We're going to have a team of copywriters in the room, so you walk out all plugged into your system. That sound all right? Cool. So 2 tickets to that as well, because I'm all about for these 12 months is not just about loading you up with DVDs and CDs. I really want your businesses to thrive, and I want to be there. I want to be the brain trust for you. So that's kind of cool, right? And if you can't make the workshops, we're going to give you DVDs so you don't miss a thing. Same with the video sales letter, because video sales letters are converting like crazy at the moment. Who thinks having a one-on-one time with me, come up with a big idea, just you and I one-on-one, just would be pretty valuable for your business? This is what I thrive doing. So I'm going to give you a big idea strategy call. For serious corporate companies, when they see that I charge $3,000 for this, they just laugh in my face. But I know what it's like to be starting off in business, and it's not so easy. But this is where the cool things happen for the 12 months. You get a one-on-one big idea strategy call with me. You also get me to write out your marketing plan, right? The $5,000 is pretty laughable to my corporate clients, but who'd enjoy me coming up with a big idea and just give you step-by-step things what to do, right? Again, this is not for everyone, but if you really want me to work in your business for you for 12 months, then this is where the money is, in the big idea and giving you structure, because this is what I love doing. It's the funnest way to make money ever. The other thing is a live website critique. So it's you and I on Skype. We just bring up your website, make sure you got thick skin, and I'll just punch holes through it, and I'll say, right, do this, do that. Who thinks that's going to be valuable, right? I enjoy that, and you'll enjoy that too. And I promise you, one little tweak can make a massive difference to your business. I do it every day of the week. It's valuable, $1,500. So far we've got your weekly classes to keep you educated. You've got templates for everything, so you've got a brain trust for all different templates. You get tickets to the 7-hour sales at a workshop, so you come out of there with all your copy done under my guidance. You come out of there with your whole back-end funnel done, so that can work while you sleep, and you can monetize it, and that's what we teach you to do, and we can get it all up online ready for you. You get the DVDs of everything. and you get the one-on-one big idea strategy call and personal marketing plan and your personal website critique, right? Now that comes to about 19,000, just under 20 grand. But here's something else I want to do. I've found, and you've heard this throughout the weekend, that you can give people everything they need to know, even come up with their ideas. But generally, some people get stuck, right? So this is, what I'm going to do is give away 6 personal get-out-of-jail power calls with me. Right, so if you're stuck along the way, you can ring me up and say, Brett, listen, we're trying to do this, and you can use them 6 times through the year, a couple of grand. Who thinks that's pretty cool, just having access to me? Again, I say 50, what did I say, 15-minute power calls. Most of them go 20, 30 minutes. I shouldn't say that, but I do, you know, I just enjoy whatever it takes to help you get through it. Also, this is the most valuable part. Every single piece of successful copy and marketing that I've done, and all the campaigns that I did where I made, you know, the $15 million in a month, the $1.6 million and all that, if you've got a business where I've written copy for, and you say, Brett, I've got to do a referral campaign, right, I've done that, here's what I've used. Now you can't obviously copy it, but you can get inspired by it, you know what I mean? So if you're putting on a seminar, or if you're selling a home study course or digital ebooks, and what's the subject? I said, listen, I've got something else, and you can have access to my whole swipe file. That's huge, guys. Does anyone understand how valuable that is? Because right now I'm one of the highest paid copywriters in Australia. I don't say that to boast, but just to give you, just for you to value that in its proper perspective. Okay, so. Again, you get access to sales letters, promotions, emails, video scripts, product launches, offline ads, online ads. The same as offline. I love doing offline marketing. That's actually my favourite. So you get through all that stuff with all that extra bonuses. That packs it out to 30 grand, just over 30 grand of real valuable stuff. But look, that's all there, guys. I know it's a bit rushed, and I apologise about that. But really, what you're getting here, what you're really doing is getting my brain in your business at the end of the day. Okay. Again, I'm not loading you up with all DVDs, they're all there, but we're going to become friends, we're going to have good 12 months, we're going to get some real solid stuff into your business, rightio?